This is giving Dominique Deveraux. If you know, you know. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kyla. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for stopping by. And yes, it is cold here today, and tomorrow, and the day after that, and next week, and probably, honestly, all the way until March off and on. So, I've been wanting a black, short pile, faux fur mink hat that fits close to my head with a brim. And I looked around in some stores, couldn't really find anything that fit my head or my hair, and they didn't have a satin lining in them, so they kind of stuck to my head if I was successful in getting them on. And I thought, you know what, why am I doing this? I can just make my own. I had some leftover faux fur fabric from this collar that I made for a coat last year, and I thought that would be perfect. It's exactly what I need. So that's what I'm making today. Let's get started. So I've got my pieces cut. 3 is the crown, 4 the top, and 5 is the brim. And I'm hoping that even though the hat is kind of close and stuck to the head on the pattern, I think that's because they use either velvet or polar fleece. Since I'm using faux fur, it should sit a little bit further away from the head, which is the look that I'm going for. And this is just a 1/4 yard of a flannel back satin that I like to use this for hats as well as coats. It's more stable, more stability than that polyester lining that you see in so many coats that cost so much, and you always wonder, why didn't they put a better lining in it? But this is satin on this side and flannel on this side, just to give it a little bit of extra warmth, and it'll also protect the hair too, so no broken ends and snapped hair. Okay, so I only needed to cut the lining out for the top and just for the crown. So I can set those to the side. And I think since this is such an irregular piece, since I've used it before, I can probably make up a lot of the corners and edges with some of these pattern pieces, being that they're so small. I decided to add a sew-in interfacing, just a lightweight one, to the back of all the pieces of the hat, just to give it a little bit more stability. So now that I've got those secured to the back, I can go about stitching all of my 3 sections together. So I have the crown connected, and what I like to do on where the seam allowance is, when I turn faux fur right side out, I like to take my seam ripper and just fluff up the fur a little bit along the edge, just so that you don't really see that crease there. That way it looks like it's one continuous piece. So now that I've got that together, I can go about pinning the top to the crown. And I want to pin it so that the fur is laying to the back of my head on the top part. Now that I've got the crown and the top stitched together, I'm going to trim that down so that I don't have that bulk at the top. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the back seam of the crown part. I'm going to do that to the top as well, and just go around all the seams and fluff out the fur that's caught in that seam allowance. Okay, she's coming along. This fur is so soft and luxurious. I love it. And I love that it's got a really nice sheen to it as well. So all I have to do is add the brim and then put the lining in it. So it's coming along, and I just want to show something to you guys that I decided to make a change on. The interfacing inside. I thought I was going to need this for extra stability and support, but once it's folded up, I really don't. I just want to keep that support at the very top here. So I'm cutting this out because when I went to try this on, I couldn't get over my head. And I couldn't get over my head if my life depended on it because it's not stretching. There's no give. So I'm cutting this out and leaving that off. So now that I've trimmed off all of that interfacing from the brim and from the crown, I can go about pinning my lining in place and then finishing it up. All I need to do at this point is just close up the top of the lining and it's complete. I love this fur. It is so luxe. I love how this turned out, and even though the pattern that I used didn't have faux fur as one of the fabric suggestions, the style was a basic style to construct, so I thought it would work, and it did. So I can't wait to start wearing this, and I'll probably be wearing it almost every day that we're in the teens and the low 20s because it's just so cold here. You go. If you're not here in Michigan, or if you're not on the Midwest, then you probably have no idea, but it's cold. I'm glad that I was at a point where I could stop and cut that interfacing out of the brim and out of the crown area because it was just too constricting. So sometimes if you start a project and halfway through that idea sounded like it was good at the beginning, but if you're able to, catch yourself in the middle, by all means, stop, take care of it right there instead of waiting to the end, finding out you've closed everything up and then have to reopen everything else back up again. Well, that brings us to the end of today's video. Thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to start wearing my hat. And if you're in the tundra like I am, stay warm. I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye, everyone. And now I'm not going to be able to stop doing this. I read somewhere that this is supposed to be comforting. It brings you down or something like that. Uh-oh. I'm going back to Dynasty, y'all. Alexis, Crystal, and Dominique. What happened to the light? Where'd it go? Ah, how dare you? Oh, I should be in the Swiss Alps somewhere. Oh wait, that's cold too.